Welcome.
Mike, that's so serious.
Welcome once again to the Nobody Cares podcast. We are, as always, the #1 podcast in the world discussing things that nobody else cares about, and that we'll tell you why you shouldn't care either. I'm Casey Peterson.
I'm Mike Frazier, and we are #1.
It's true.
I'm John Andrews, and prove that we're not.
We're discussing a couple things today. We're discussing some online customer service fail issues, and we'll be talking some about fake followers and what it actually means to engage as a brand. I'm going to share a quick story. Speaking of engagement as a brand, so we subscribe to eMeals, a company that I actually really enjoyed the service. You pay, a few bucks a month, and they give you a full meal plan for your whole family. You tell them how many kids you got and how many people you're feeding and what meals you want, and they'll give you the meal plan, the menu. They'll put everything in your shopping cart for you. You can send it to the grocery store of choice and schedule a pickup, and you're done.
It's in your basket?
Yeah, it's in your basket.
That's cool.
Done. It's fantastic. But we decided, we're going to try a different diet. And I was like, well, I'm just going to cancel eMeals for now. And this is probably one of the biggest pet peeves I have is if I can sign up on your website, I probably want to cancel on your website.
Oh, I had this experience.
If I had to sign up by talking to somebody and there was a big sales thing involved, we're talking like big ticket items, I get calling and talking to a person. They want to have the chance to save the sale. I even get the clicking 15 times and declining like, oh, no, I don't want it for $5 less. No, I don't want it for $5 less plus 3 extra things. I don't want those things. I just want to cancel. Fine with all that stuff. But they let you pause your service, but you can't cancel your service. I had to call into the number. So I took a screenshot and shared it on the Twitters because that's what Twitter is for, right?
Twitters.
It's complaining about companies. So I call in, and here's when I really got angry. Calling in was one thing. I called in. You have to go through the prompt. So I'd never actually even spoke to a person during this process of.
So they weren't trying to save you.
They weren't trying to save me. I don't know. They were trying to inconvenience me enough. I think that I ignored the $10 a month that this cost. And I actually, at one point in this process, was like, maybe it's not worth it to even cancel this, which I'm sure is what they're going for.
That's the goal, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But then I hit peak irritation, and it was on. So in the process,
Thermonuclear.
In the process, they offer, hey, would you like to get these extra things and we'll make it $5 less. We'll give you these extra things for free forever if you stay. Press 1 to accept. Now the previous prompt, it was, hey, you want to cancel this? Press 1 to accept, 2 to decline. 1, accept. The next prompt is, do you want these special offers? Press 1 to accept it. Press 8 to decline.
Oh.
If you press 2, which is what I did because I don't take instructions well. If you press 2, you get put into a queue to wait to talk to a customer service representative because you've done something wrong and now you must be punished. And then it comes on and tells you your wait time is going to be 10 minutes. So I hang up, I dial back in, I go through the whole prompt again, and this time I press 8 to decline, and I finally canceled. I never spoke to a person. I talked to just a robot. It was a very robotic voice. It wasn't even a good recording. And
must be like those guys that call me wanting to fix my Microsoft computer.
Exactly. And
this is Microsoft.
And then my favorite thing, so I tweet all this out and I say, which is the truth. Like, this was so horrible of a customer experience, I'm not going to sign back up. There are a lot of services out there who do this kind of thing. We liked emails. It was convenient. I'm not going to sign back up. And their response is, hey, Casey, thanks for the feedback. We never want there to be any confusion about our policies, so we make sure to include that information in the terms you agree to when you sign up. We don't do it to make things difficult. We do it to provide great customer support. So
that was helpful.
I'm not going to repeat all that I tweeted after that.
You can go read it.
You can read it. But let's be honest. That's not only is it a bad customer experience, this is not the way to engage with someone online publicly, where you defend something that is actually a really onerous experience.
So Casey would never say this, but Mike and I would call that bullshit. Right?
No hesitation.
But it's a lie. It's not to provide great customer support. No, it's to attempt to make it so difficult to cancel
that you give up.
I'm pretty sure that DirecTV does this too at every cable company in America.
When I canceled Apple Music just to go all a family plan on Spotify, and man, I had to hunt pretty deep in the iTunes interface and Apple is usually pretty clean with their UI, but man, to drill down to find out where I canceled that thing, it took a little bit.
They don't hide stuff, but
no.
You got to be pretty good at navigating some UX to get to. I want to give you less money.
Right.
Here's what amazes me about your story, Casey. There's some people that sat in a conference room together.
Yes.
And talked about this.
Absolutely. You know that happened. And that's why, their response is so clearly a lie. And that's what really has irritated me about the whole thing. Is not only is it an irritating process, it's the doubling down on it from a customer service and Twitter online engagement perspective of, hey, yeah, we do all that stuff. It's to make things better for you.
But they thought a lot about how do we prevent people from leaving, because I'm sure they got their VC funded. I don't know anything about this company, so right. I'm guessing they're VC funded, and if they show any attrition, they're dead, right? So instead of saying, God, how can we make this process, how do we make this awesome? They're like, how can we screw people over? Because that's what it is. You're screwing people over, thinking about how do we make things crappy for our customers.
There was a series of conversations. Someone on the cancellation stream was like, "Oh, we're just going to let people can't pause. We're not going to let them cancel. We want them to dial in because maybe they won't." I wish that I was in the conference room where they said, I got it. Let's not make them press 2.
Press 8, because then they'll press the wrong button.
And they'll press the wrong button, and we'll get to sell them again, and then they'll just give up. No, the disdain for your customers that shows is mind-boggling, because I'll tell you, I liked the service enough. There is not a doubt in my mind that if I had just canceled it, I would have resubscribed in less than 6 months.
Well, and what an opportunity to go, hey man, sorry you're going away. Cool. We'll see you soon. And then here's even better. Here's a free meal plan on something that is why I love Amazon. If I order something and I don't like it, I don't want it.
Yeah,
even if I just change I'm like, man, this is what I really thought it would be. I hit send it back, and it goes back, and money comes into my account like immediately. And so I am reinforced to, And my wife and I've had this discussion before when we've had buyer's remorse from buying something not from Amazon or from an Amazon third-party merchant, which you got to be careful to do. Although Amazon makes it pretty clear this ain't from Amazon, so buyer beware, which I appreciate that. We're both like, oh, you didn't order that from Amazon, did you? And you're like, no, and I know better. Right. I know better because I don't want to have a discussion about it. I don't want this thing. Sorry, I changed my mind. Don't make it hard for me to do. Mm-hmm. Right. And that is the base consumer expectation today. If you're not doing that, you're out of business because you're going to screw with people like this. They're going to tell other people and then you're done.
Yeah, I mean, a great example is Hulu. We ended up with 2 accounts with Hulu. It was an ordeal, but I canceled one of them. And the process was so easy. You click cancel. I mean, they give you the opportunity. Well, do you just want to pause? Yeah. And then they ask you, why are you canceling? Like, and one of the selections was, oh, don't worry, I'm resubscribing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's it. I want them to know they're keeping my business. I just really need to get out of this because I got 2, and one of them was the TV one, and one was a regular. I just need it. We didn't handle the transition well, but
it was my fault.
But they made it totally painless, and I got to communicate to them because I value their service. I mean, I don't typically subscribe to things and stay subscribed that I hate.
But as the world moves to subscriptions, easy unsubscribe is going to be the order winner, right? I just went through this with New York Times. I'm there's so much content. I feel bad for publishers because everybody's making content. It costs money to do that and whatever. But I mean, I can anything I read in the New York Times, I can kind of read now in Apple News. I can read, I can read other people's opinion about it on Twitter. I can read an article about the subject on Medium that somebody's written. And so I was just like, what? I don't really need New York Times anymore. And so I went online to cancel. There I had to talk to a human, right? And the guy was so nice and said, well, you're paying $15 a month now for digital access and whatever. What if we give it to you for $4 a month for 6 months? I'm like, sure. Right. But that was good. And he was like, if you really want to cancel, it's great. But talking to a real live human, hey, sorry, this is not working out for you. I'd love to keep your business. What about a promo? We got a promo, I'm like, oh, awesome. Great. 6 months, I'm canceling that, but right. But sure, for $4 a month, yes, maybe there's a value there that works.
I remember the first time I returned something to Amazon. I went into total like USPS mode. I'm like going into the store like, oh man, I gotta box this thing up because I don't have a box yet, and I forgot my slip. I'm just gonna have to go back home and get it in. And a guy in the Amazon store is like, no, just hand it to me. Just log in at the kiosk there and print it out and hand it to me. You're done. I'm like, okay. I'm a lifelong customer now. Peace
out. I'm good.
A similar experience, if you've ever, which is part of Amazon, but it was this way before Amazon, is Zappos is, if you've ever had the opportunity, obviously if you call in when you place an order, there's a problem. And so there's an opportunity for something to be very wrong. I had such a fantastic experience with Zappos. I have not bought a pair of shoes from anywhere but Zappos in 5 years.
So
done. Like I talked to the person was so nice. They went over the top to help me out. It was the potential to, like to your point, the potential to just turn things around and give you a much better experience is amazing.
Well, that's Ted's thing. Ted talks about that a lot in his keynote speeches. You were talking about it yesterday. It's like the one time you have 100% of a customer's attention is when they're pissed off at you.
That's true.
Right? Like they're paying attention. And what a great opportunity to take advantage of that. And really, because they will tell if I have a good experience with somebody, I will tell everybody, right? And I guess we're not talking about engagement today. Well, I think we are, because here's the deal. Customer service, which was always kind of, I feel like for a lot of folks, sort of a afterthought, it is 50% of your brand value today, right? In a place where I'm not touching you physically as a brand, anymore. If I don't go to a store or whatever, do I trust these folks to make all parts of the transaction, especially post sale, easy for me?
Well, and then talk about engagement. With Casey's story, he could have easily went to Twitter and started, complaining, explaining the story all over and get that out there. And then that brand is not doing any social listening, which a lot of them don't. And then it just festers. It just goes into the aggregator, and then people start retweeting it, and then people chime in. Oh yeah, I had the same. Oh, it's just a nightmare.
I love the brands that argue with you publicly.
Yeah,
right? I tracked down that company where I was getting spam calls from, robocalls from, and they said, "Oh, we don't use robocalls." And I went in their TOS and found a thing in their terms of service that said that if you do anything with us, you agree to get automated telephone calls. I'm like, well, why is this in your term of service if you don't use it? And I didn't get any response to that.
Well,
people, well, I guess what they finally did respond to me. I've been talking to their legal department a little bit, and it's amazing what happens when you start publicly tweeting and posting on their LinkedIn and Facebook page of the CEO, the CMO, and the head of customer acquisition.
I tagged that guy and said, "Hey, man, spamming is not cool."
I'm with you. Let me show you how not cool it is. Let me jump in on everything you say on LinkedIn for a month. See how you like that.
Right. So easing this transition here, I think a great example of brands that just totally miss the point, right? Like it's obviously emails was listening, totally missed the opportunity to save me as a customer.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot, like the ones that argue with you online, like there's a lot that really miss the point of being online at all. Nothing misses the point of being online at all more than us as marketers and influencers' obsession with followers.
Oh God.
I'm just going to share my screen here.
It's one of my favorite pictures of the past month.
There you go. So a few weeks ago, this was February the 13th. This was the day after the Instagram-apocalypse.
Instagram-apocalypse.
Yeah, that's what
is that
this comes a year after the Twit-apocalypse, where Twitter cleared out a bunch of fake followers. This is the face of someone who apparently, now I have no problem with this person. This is the face of a person who's someone who apparently spends a whole month's work getting 1,000 additional Instagram followers.
Because that's the goal.
Because that's the goal. I got to tell you, I got to tell you, if your job, your goal is just to get 1,000 followers, you've really missed the point of marketing.
I read blog posts that tell people how to, be a great influencer and make money on Instagram. Say, well, you got to get to the 10,000 follower mark, and that's when they pay attention and unlock special stuff. And I'm like, that is the worst freaking advice I think I have ever heard in my entire life. Right?
Well, you were just sharing something before the call. Yeah.
There's this tactic where you go follow a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. And when they follow you back, you unfollow them, so it changes your ratio. So it looks like you're really popular. It's still like the brands that don't follow anybody back, which is
rude. That's just rude.
Well, it's not only rude, it's stupid from an algorithmic standpoint, because if I don't follow you back, the algorithms go, well, there's no real relation. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure your agency, your PR agency told you that's why you do it, because you want to look really popular. I'm like, what are we in 7th grade? Yeah. So I just had somebody follow me, and then as soon as I followed them back, they unfollowed me, and I'm like, really? Like, that's what you're sitting around thinking about, and you actually think you're a serious person in any kind of realm of marketing or humanity, whatever. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I do use a tool to manage my, I don't follow people who don't follow me. It's just something I don't do. And I follow everyone that follows me, unless it's spam or porn or some stupid, because I just figured it's kind of being a human. It's kind of common courtesy. So I go, frequently, and I'll unfollow folks who unfollow me. And there's a whole tribe of people on Instagram that block you when you unfollow them.
Yeah.
Like, they've been using this stuff. And I'm like, what? What is that? And I'm sure there's some theory that, well, if I block you, it doesn't go in my count that you unfollowed me or something. It's the weirdest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. So rockstarcmo.com has their entire issue out this month is about fakeness. I have an article in there that that beautiful picture I just showed is posted in the middle of. And I think the point I make at the end of it that I think is the most important thing that we miss is, so one time I ran a Facebook page. It only had about 200 followers. It was a relatively small page, but the engagement was through the roof. So high, the engagement was so high that our impressions were usually 4 times over what our actual followers were. We'd get like 800 reach on a post.
The good old days.
Well, this was just a year or so ago. I mean, this is post Facebook page purge. Engagement really does still matter. You can still get good engagement if your followers are really hyper attuned to your content. They're paying attention and they like and share and comment, and there's a conversation that happens. Comments happen to be more valuable now.
There's actually social media going on your social
there's
media
actual
page.
and that just shows you the situation is so bad that it's so rare that a post from a page sparks conversation that they reward you really well for it. So you compare that to the average reach. Let's say it's 1% for a page with 10,000 followers. So I have 200 followers. I reach 800 people, let's say. And let's say I can convert 10% of those. I get 80 conversions, whatever that's worth, out of that. If I have 10,000 followers, but I got them through crap methods like this, and I just have the average reach of 1%, I've got 100 people reach, 10% of those is 10. I would take 80 conversions over 10 conversions any day, and I wouldn't care that I only had 200 followers instead of 10,000.
Of course. Anyone
in business would agree with that.
Hashtag math.
Yeah.
Dan, we're talking some math today.
So Mike, I know you think a lot about engagement and connection. What's your thoughts?
I think it's good that these social platforms are purging fake followers. Although they need to hit our president, man. Like his he's like at 50%. If you audit that account.
You can do a fake follower on it. The last time I looked, it was about 50%.
Why don't we do that live? That is our
live
service to you.
Oh, we're doing it live? Nice.
We're just going to do it live right now. That's our service to you here on the Nobody Cares.
Yeah, nobody cares about what our president says.
So what is it? Fake? What's
fake follower? Just you can Google fake follower. There's several things out there. Has
Twitter on it. Here
Twitter on it. That's it.
What is this? It's
at real Donald Trump.
Real Donald. I can't type. It's live.
It'll take a minute. Is it working? Oh, it is working. Oh.
No, look at that. He's been working on it.
He's been cleaning up a little bit.
11% fake.
That's not
Dude,
too bad.
The Russian bots pulled out.
Right. We've already purged the fake ones. Already
Dang.
purged the fake.
Well,
6 million fake followers. It's still a lot of fake followers.
Twitter helped that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, but I'll look at brands on this sometimes just to see, kind of what their counts are. And it's amazing to me. And what's even more is you look at content that gets zero interaction at all other than likes and clicks, but nobody comments. There's no conversation. There's no whatever. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares about likes?
Well, I think the point is you shouldn't. Honestly.
But it's seventh grade. But it's seventh grade popularity contest.
Right. And how many people in the marketing industry are like, oh, you got to get to that 10,000. I recall sitting in a job where my boss really wanted more followers than the competition.
I remember that conversation.
I needed well, they have 100,000, so I got to get to 110 at least. That's not a goal.
Yeah, I had.
That's not a measurable business goal.
I had conversations with an apparel company, and they were just starting out. They had no name recognition, nothing, and she was just like, "Where's my 10,000 followers on Instagram?" I'm like, well, we'll get there. I mean, I don't buy any followers. We reach out. They like you, they follow back.
Right.
Organic, sustainable. Let's keep working at it. No, no. Got to have it now. Got to have 25,000 followers. I only want to follow 100 people because I want to look famous because and
I want them all to be beautiful
because I'm Nike.
Because I'm Nike, right? Exactly.
Like, you're not Nike.
You're not Nike.
You're not Nike.
Nobody's Nike. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Sorry. Good luck with that.
Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, there's Molly Kate.
Come on in, Molly.
Can we interview you for a second? So Molly Kate
come join us.
Is part of our team here. You can be on the orange
guest
stool.
Guest stool.
Hello.
This is the first time we've had a guest, I think.
It is.
So Molly Kate runs our customer success group here at Photify. And is a big Instagram influencer. I don't know if you know. So what happened to you a couple of weeks ago?
So a couple of weeks ago, I had around close to 30,000 followers, and I got on Instagram like a lot of people did, and I looked and I went, oh my God, like I've lost over 1,000 followers, and I was freaking out.
Did you say something mean or?
I actually looked up on Instagram's Twitter, as random as that is, and saw that they had made a post about the issue and that they realized that a lot of people had lost followers. And I saw several other influencers that had reached out. They said they were going to fix the problem. And a little while later, I saw that I got them back. But it was really nerve-wracking to lose them. And it kind of brought to my attention that I did have ghost followers and slightly appreciated it in a sense. But, when it comes to being social and being on social media, I think that people need to realize that you need to actually be social and engage with your followers. And that kind of becomes a big issue for a lot of people. And I think a lot of brands that they don't necessarily engage the way that they should. And so it was kind of a wake-up call for me also that I need to be more proactive on my social site.
Pretty easy advice, right?
Yeah.
I still think a lot of brands are caught in the broadcast media world, right? Like we talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk to us unless it's telling us how awesome we are.
Absolutely.
Right? And if you tell us we're not awesome, we don't like that.
No.
So we're going to hide that.
But honestly, probably not even going to respond to you if you tell us that we're awesome. We're just gonna
delete and block.
broadcast.
So I've had an interesting experience as Ted has. So I love brands that respond.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that Instagram uses Twitter to respond, but I guess that makes sense. It's a channel, right?
Yep.
Everybody doesn't use Instagram all the time. So I love Delta Airlines, right? And one of the things I love about Delta, other than getting me from point A to point B and taking very good care of me, is they respond every time I talk about them, around them, near them on social media, right? Somewhere in their tech stack, they have a Twitter bot that auto responds, "Hey, did we take care of your problem?" No matter what the sentiment of the thing is. So I tweet things like, "Hey, Delta, thanks for getting me to Chicago. Really appreciate the ride," right? And they will respond. Somebody on their team will respond, "Hey, glad you're flying with us. Thank you for your loyalty. Enjoy Chicago. Hope you got a coat." I mean, something wrong. And then about 30 minutes later, I get a Twitter bot. "Hey, did we take care of your problem?" I was like, "You mean my problem of being happy with my flight to Chicago?" And we've actually told Delta about this. We go to Brand Innovators. Their folks are there from their Sky Miles program. And I'm like, "Guys, you gotta tweak this thing or something." And I'm sure it's just something that I can't imagine being Delta and the overwhelming amount. But in an age of AI, something has to read that post and go, "This guy's not mad."
Right.
Happy.
Right.
These are positive keywords.
It's really weird, and you just feel like, "Hello, is anybody testing this thing? Is this thing on?"
Bueller.
You know who else is really good at responding? I always message Wells Fargo because I have a good experience with them a lot of the time, and they always respond back to me on Twitter as well. Yeah. And say thank you, because there's a Wells Fargo on Hillsborough Street that's always so helpful because I'm always getting into trouble with something.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't bank with Wells Fargo, so I wouldn't know. I imagine after Wells Fargo's challenges the past couple of years, probably they have
really invested in getting someone who knew how to deal with the public there.
Yes.
Probably a good idea.
Yes.
Mike, you got a good engagement story with a brand?
Boy, oh boy.
Pine Forks and Friends that guys are engaging. I tell you, they're on.
Yeah, I think the best platform for engagement right now is Instagram, especially on Pine Forks and Friends. Speaking of AI, I'll queue up a couple comments on our end, that'll just be like, you're living a good life and redonkulous and it's like these words that are just kind of off the wall. And 9 times out of 10, they'll respond back to me laughing at me or giving me cheers, and then that just opens up a conversation where then I come back in and then I talk to them for real. So I think in those situations, the use of a bot is beneficial. But like with Twitter and stuff, I think with companies that just sit there and broadcast and buy my mustard, buy my mustard. It doesn't work. If they would just actually, here's a story of what not to do. So up here in Cleveland, there's a big issue with Chief Wahoo. Some people say it's racist. The Indian logo, right? Yeah. So that's been removed from the logo from the uniforms this year. So it's a hot topic. So the official mustard of the Cleveland Indians, I'm not even going to say their name anymore, but they had to remove the Chief Wahoo off their mustard label. Well, then they posted, "Hey, we got new labels. Check it out." Blah 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 blah. Well, then the Indians, there's a big, heavy pro Chief fan base out there. They're like, "Hey, why'd you remove the Chief Wahoo?" And they're like, "Well, according to our licensing agreement, we had to." Well then you had the other side of the more of the politically correct crowd. They're like, "Well, did you do it because you had to, or did you think it was a bad logo?" They didn't address it.
It's a question. Yeah. Probably a foreseeable question too. I always wonder when marketers run into this is like, did nobody say, "Hey, is this the right thing to do?" Maybe, I don't. Is somebody going to question us on this? Because it seems foreseeable.
I would avoid anything that is a hot button item like that, because whatever you say is going to be wrong.
Well, and it's almost impossible today too,
Yeah.
right? Like you want to wade into a good conversation. Go tell people they should get a measles shot.
Well, what confuses the whole thing is, okay, so the Indians removed it from their jerseys, but in the team shop, they're still selling it. Like that's the arrangement that they made with Major League Baseball. So now you got these, the fans are like, well, I can still buy Chief Wahoo in the team shop where I can buy the mustard. How come you removed it? Like, what do you stand for? And then all you get is crickets because they're not social listening, or they have some agency, just automating it. And they just look silly. It's just,
or they're afraid to have a real conversation about it.
Right.
Yeah. Like, all right.
Take a stand.
I
mean, and you should have an opinion on that. I mean, if you're, whatever, tell people how to do their stuff.
So, speaking of the different channels, I have gotten a little more into Twitter lately, and I'm wondering, have y'all noticed that Twitter, you get more engagement? It seems like every time I tried to get involved with it in the past, I would end up kind of speaking out into nothing and not really getting anything back. And I didn't have that experience on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or anywhere else, and so I ignored it a while. But this last time I've gone in, I've over just the last month or two, I've have a lot more. It's like Twitter back in like 2008 or so when I first got involved. Like
there were real conversations.
There's real conversations happening now. I'm wondering if that is unique to me, or if y'all are seeing something similar.
I spend a lot of time. I'm sorry, Mike.
No, you're good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I do on Twitter recently. I've been more active, and I see several threads, and I actually see people promoting other threads to like make sure that you read these comments. So I definitely think there's like almost like a storyline that people have started to produce with Twitter.
The new threads, I think, does
I
help.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I find myself, and I'm actually trying to do this too, but be part of more conversations instead of just tweeting.
Or retweeting.
And there's great conversations. You guys might know I'm a Duke fan. But man, you can have some fun conversations with Carolina fans, with Virginia Tech fans who feel the need to storm the floor when you beat Duke. I mean, I don't
except Michigan, except the Michigan football fans, they just lost their heart, man. They don't challenge anything anymore. Maybe in September, when the season starts to roll around, and they get all happy and stuff. But then,
how's our friend Kenny doing? I talked to him on Twitter lately. We got to look him up, Mike.
Yeah, he was fired up.
Mike and I were having fun with this Michigan fan who was really excited when Michigan hadn't lost a game, and then reality kind of set in with their basketball program, and I haven't heard from him.
No. In fact, my cover, I really get a lot of fulfillment with using my Facebook cover as just bashing Michigan. So I just either the crying Michigan fan or the Michigan players in the background, and they're scoring another touchdown. I mean, just. Because they were ruthless to us in the 90s when they were dominating us. So, So no.
You working through that?
I'm. You know what? I'm not like Ted says. No let up.
No let up.
I think your points will take it, Molly, Kate, and Casey. Though, if you want engagement, engage.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the only way.
Talking at people does not work.
Right.
Only being focused on your own channels does not work. You have to get involved. Be social. It's the first word. Social media.
Yeah.
Except like Facebook is still disappointing to me. Like especially with business pages, it's just I'll ask a question and try and be more try to provoke more engagement. But I swear it's like if like 3 people see it. It's
you don't pay, you get no play.
Yeah. Pay, no play.
I have opinions on Facebook, but that is for a whole other show.
So Casey, let me ask you this. Okay, so what I try and do is I'll get like, I don't know, I'll ping like 10 or 15 of my friends, and I'll say, hey man, I'm gonna post this on Facebook. can you like it and comment on it and share it? You know, so that at least gives it a little feed.
Good push.
Yeah, it matters that it happens within the first like few minutes that it's out.
Oh, okay.
And you'll get a lot more play. Like the sooner the engagement happens, I absolutely will back channel.
And that's true for Instagram too, as well. That first 5 minutes is really useful. It's like an open window to try and build as much engagement as you can. So if I get like a few comments in or even a few likes, I try to go and comment back to those people or even like those people's photos. So later on, my photo will appear for them.
There you go.
So I think that we're far enough into the show that I can share my conspiracy theories. I think that there's nobody listening anymore. I think that
you watch this long, you deserve to hear
it. I love conspiracy theories.
I think that we're going to enter. So one of the things that if you're into newsletter marketing, one of the things that you do is purge your newsletter list regularly. If people don't open like 3 emails in a row, they get ditched because the Google's the worst about it because they control most of the email in the world. If your emails are always coming, and the majority of your people are never opening them, then you get kind of pushed into different tabs and eventually just ignored altogether.
I love Google tabs in
my
Gmail. I feel sorry for all the brands that go because I take the whole tab of like
promotions is the one like just gone.
I hit the button.
Select
it says you got 283. Whack.
Yep.
Massively.
You'll actually see you can watch yourself if there are things that come in your updates tab regularly that you never open, they'll end up over in your promotions tab because it's trying to find the right place for it. So newsletter marketers a lot of times will will be very proactive in purging people who don't open up their newsletters. I think that smart marketers are going to try to ask for tools from Facebook and different places that are algorithmically shaping their newsfeed.
Why don't you just drive
and try to purge out people who are unengaged or disengaged totally with their page because it's lowering their engagement overall. I think the reason why my 200 follower page worked so well is because every one of my 200 followers engaged with that page.
Yeah.
They were there to engage. They followed to engage. We never bought followers. We never did any paid promotion. It was all just people who were there and were interested and actually wanted the content. And I believe that what we'll see is maybe some tools that come out, probably not sponsored by Facebook, but the ability to identify people who've never engaged and just knock them off your list.
But Facebook should do that. Right? Because it would be more valuable for me as an advertiser to not send messaging to people who don't care. Right. And actually get some predictive, if you want to talk to me once a month, awesome. You send me an email send me a communication every day.
Yeah.
That's the problem in my mind with digital media today is there's just so much crap because everybody is seeking yield on something that there's not, there's no rational use of the product, My 2 cents.
All right. Well, we've gone deep enough down that rabbit hole. Anything else from y'all before we end today?
I bought it was a couple years ago. I bought an email list. It was the first time I ever bought one, and it was like 10,000 names, it was craft beer industry. And so I queue it up and send out the blast. And I only got like maybe 2% open, like people that actually open. There was maybe, like I'd say like 9,000 viewers or recipients did not even open it. So I sent it again, same thing. They didn't unsubscribe from the list and they didn't open it. okay, so now I'm like, all right, this is like a bogus list, right? So then I start emailing that list every single day. I just wanted to see. So I went back to the email list company. I'm like, are these real? I go, I don't think your email addresses are real. And he was like, oh, no, they're totally vetted and all this other stuff. I go, well, tell me why I can't either piss these people off or they won't even open it. I mean, I was trying every different way just to get some sort of reaction.
Yeah.
It was totally fake.
Crickets.
And, yeah, they didn't give me a refund or nothing. So, but anyways.
Oh, really?
No.
You know what you need? You need a good lead gen company.
Right. HubSpot. What, you talking HubSpot now?
I need somebody that doesn't work for my company reaching out to people to sell shit for my company.
You know what especially works is the random invitations to be friends on LinkedIn with a message attached. Like, I see that you may be interested in hiring a team of engineers.
I did. It was fun. I was on a call yesterday, and I did. It was the first time I saw that sales navigator inside of LinkedIn, and I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I totally can see how marketers will ruin it, but natively the way it's set up is, I can target and I can send a nice kind of intro email, to see if they'd want to engage with me, but you can see if they opened it or if they look at it and read it or not, and things like that. You can follow up with them. So
make sure as soon as they engage with you, you give them a sales pitch.
It's like this long.
And
if they ignore your message, be sure to message them again in 2 days.
Yeah.
I love
just want to make sure you got it.
The automated cutesy emails. Hey, just want to make sure you didn't die, but coming back. If you're dead, let me know. And
we should make a separate show where we just read through the spam we get on LinkedIn.
You know what?
That would be funny, honestly.
I think let's add. We're looking for show elements, right? Like we had a guest today. It's pretty nice. Yeah. Nice having you here, Molly.
Thank you.
We've got our story arcs, conspiracy theory. I think email or message of the day, and we'll rotate responsibility. Man, I got some good ones. I want to read them and name names.
Okay. Should name names.
All right, I'm in on that.
So I was thinking next week we would talk about. I don't know if you guys saw the news about Kraft Heinz this week. Basically, they wrote down the value of the company by $15 billion or so this week. And
it's not a small amount.
And their stock dropped 25% the day it happened. I'd like to talk about, do people care about brands anymore? I think it's an interesting conversation.
I like that.
Interesting conversation. As I was nailing up some nails today with my Amazon Basics hammer, I was sort of asking the question.
I mean, Aldi's changed my whole perspective on that. I don't even know half these brands that we're getting now, and Tostitos chips are now Clancy chips. So yeah, I don't really care. Aren't they all made in the same?
You can say the Target store brands are pretty fantastic.
Well, they're
good stuff.
And wait till we get our Wegmans.
Oh,
Wegmans store brand is widely known as better than premium brand.
Nice.
I mean, it's legit.
All right, we'll see if you stuck around with us this long. We will see you next week and talk about brands. Thank you very much for joining us. Be sure to like and subscribe right down there.
Yeah,
the side of the screen.
We are number one, right?
Number one podcast discussing things that nobody cares about. All right.
Peace out.